Sarah, thanks a lot for joining me and joining us on this Strategy Unscripted episode. It's a real pleasure to sit down together.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And obviously we've had the opportunity to work together a little bit over the last 6, 7, 8 months or so.
Yeah.
It's gone pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's gone very quickly.
Yeah, with a number of the William Jackson Food Group brands.
Yep.
But there's a lot more to your background and your experience than just that.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe to begin with, it'd be great if you could just give a bit of a quick overview of where you've been, where you are now, and maybe where you're going as well.
Yeah. So Sarah Carroll, head of programs at William Jackson Food Group, been there for a little over 4 years now. Always kind of been involved in strategy, transformation, change management. Started out my career in the States as a management consultant, working on large-scale ERP transformations, so SAP, and then gradually kind of moved into more business-focused transformation, so not just technology-led and enabled, but kind of larger-scale transformations. And I've worked in all kinds of industries: public sector, transport, FMCG, food, medical devices, so a litany of industries. Which has brought me to a place now where I'm very happy to be involved in food, which I love. 6 great brands within the William Jackson Food Group umbrella, and really working with each of the businesses on identifying where they want to go, how they want to get there, what they want to be famous for, and having a great time doing it.
Thank you. And William Jackson Food Group is a fantastic British heritage brand, really, with a number of heritage brands within it. So maybe you could just talk through for a moment exactly what William Jackson Food Group is and the businesses that sit within it.
So William Jackson Food Group has been around since late 1800s. Started off with convenience stores in Hull, and has since been involved in lots of different types of industries, but now really focusing on food. We have, like I said, 6 fantastic brands. Able & Cole, which is an organic fruit and veg home delivery service. Very forward focused on food and doing food right. And just a really great brand to work with. We also have Bella Zoo and Miso Tasty. So Bella Zoo, I know you're a fan of, with their Mediterranean.
I'm a fan of all the brands.
Yes, true. But
recently I've been eating some Bella Zoo food.
Yes, Bella Zoo with their Mediterranean, Middle Eastern products, olive oils, pestos, vinegars, nuts and snacks.
Very good tahini.
Very good tahini, yes. Revolutionized the way I eat vegetables. So yeah, I'm much more vegetable-led.
That's something to put on the billboard.
It is.
Yeah. Revolutionized the way Sarah Carroll eats vegetables.
Exactly. The other brand that really revolutionized my life is Miso Tasty. So Miso, a great brand, started by Bonnie Chung, came into the William Jackson family about 2 years ago, run by Bella Zoo. Again, a big flavor enhancer, really bringing umami to the forefront, not just as a miso as a flavor, but really enhancing the flavor of tomato, the flavor of chocolate, different types of things. So strongly encourage giving their products a go. Then, of course, we've got Jackson's Bakery, probably the oldest brand within the portfolio. Bakery brand. You'll see the Jackson Bloomers in all your high streets, your Tesco's, Sainsbury's, etc. Really great. The Tiger Loaf, really good bread, very delicious bread. And then we've recently acquired a small company in Brighouse called Lottie Shaw's about a year ago. And that's really, if you've got a sweet tooth, I strongly encourage you to check them out with their Yorkshire Parkin, their Parkin biscuits, gingerbread, flapjacks, chocolates.
As you said, just before on the down low, some award-winning,
yes. They've just at the at the Farm Shop and Deli Awards next week in Birmingham, they've won a gold award for their Yorkshire Parkin. So a really, really good brand to have. And then, of course, Wellick's. If you're out at any fine dining, great restaurants, chances are they will be supplied by Wellick's. Who we currently found out serve about 60%, 59% of the Michelin-starred restaurants in the UK. So a real great feather in the cap and the finest produce on offer.
Fantastic. And as you said, you sit within William Jackson Food Group, but there are those 4 quite distinct macro businesses, and of course there's Miso Tasty and Lottie Shaw's as well. What is it like for you to sit across all of those businesses and to support from a strategic planning execution standpoint? Because there are similarities, but of course they're very, very distinct. The challenges are very different. The markets in which they play and compete are very different. So what's that challenge like for you and also for the MDs of the businesses?
I think the challenge is, because yes, they are so different, but at the very core, it's all about good food proudly made. And I think linking to that mission is kind of what keeps us focused on making sure that we have brands to be proud of, and that it's quality ingredients and quality products. All of our brands are top end. And that's something to be very proud of. So yes, we've got direct to consumer businesses, we've got manufacturing businesses, we've got distribution businesses, retail, food service. So we're omni-channel, we're omni-product, omni-category. But at the heart of it, it's good food proudly made. So by having that kind of be our raison d'etre, our North Star, that's really kind of what we can all galvanize behind. It's also recognizing that when we do collaborate, it is for the greater good. It's not just because we have to, because we're all under one house, but it's where does it make sense? For example, Wellix and Bellazoo both operate in food service. So where are those synergies, and how can those two brands support one another and help sell into each other? When we're looking at retail, we've got Jackson's and Bellazoo, and now Lottie's is trying to get into retail. So it's how do we leverage those relationships to make sure that works? So it's just recognizing that we're all part of the same family, and how can we support one another in achieving those strategic goals and objectives through the channels we currently operate in, the channels we want to operate in, and doing that together, really.
And is that, it sounds like it is, but is that something which is really important for the family, because it is a family-owned business, and also for the management team at the group level to buy into, is we want to have real clarity from the very top of the organization down through the businesses on this is what we're driving towards, this is what we want to achieve, this is what we stand for. Is that something which is proactively worked on?
It's becoming that way. We're definitely on a journey. I think historically we used to just really have different businesses, and they were left to operate in their own environments and their own microcosms, et cetera. But I think now recognizing how the world is moving on and things are changing, and we do need to leverage each other a lot more. I think we are recognizing that we are stronger together. And I can never remember exactly how the axiom goes, but we're greater than the sum of our parts.
Yes, exactly.
And I think we're recognizing that, and we're moving that together. The family have always been very keen and very strong in their views of brands to be proud of, and a strong portfolio of good businesses. And that's really kind of what's knitted us all together. So when that's part of your DNA, we can kind of galvanize behind that and move that way.
Yeah. And from my experience, my privileged access and visibility of William Jackson Food Group and the respective brands, that's very, very clear. Are there any tangible ways in which, not you personally, but you as an organization, try to cascade down that sense of purpose, that sense of vision, the DNA of the organization, all the way to the front lines? Because we're talking hundreds, thousands of people that sit across the business, from those that are picking vegetables from a refrigerator and putting them into a van, all the way through to those that are developing and designing the marketing campaigns or selling. So how do you effectively trickle down the DNA all the way to the front line?
I think it's really important to have what I call the golden thread, which is about making sure you've got a variety of measures that are all aligned, because quite often at the top level, or I say that, but at a more senior level, you have people that are looking after results like revenue, profit, things like that. But that doesn't necessarily mean much to the person working on the shop floor. So it's what happens at the shop floor that contributes to that, so that people understand what they're doing and how it contributes to that top line vision. It is also about just that constant communication of telling people, this is how we're doing. Are we on track? Are we not on track? How are we going to course correct? It's making sure you've got that in that clear line of sight, so that I know if I'm working in the back office and I'm processing customer complaints, that I recognize that, our complaints are down. Well, that means revenue might be, and how that trades off and how that works together. So yeah, it's that golden thread that demonstrates that if I get that order right, and if I make sure that I pick and pack that order and it doesn't have any damage to it, we're not going to get any returns, we're not going to have to issue any credits, it's going to be right first time, and how that then feeds through. It's making sure that is translatable to everybody.
And something that struck me is you said pride in the brands, but also pride in the work that's being conducted, and that really goes from the very top all the way through to the front line.
Absolutely.
Let's change that very slightly, maybe away from William Jackson Food Group for a moment. So you were saying before that you've had the privilege of working across a number of different industries, pretty varied in terms of the work that you've done as well. Have you seen that as a benefit as you've developed in your career and as you've learned? Do you see it at all as a drawback compared to people who focus just within the food industry for their entire career, for example? What's your experience of that?
I find the area that I play in, so transformation, change management, business change, strategy execution, whatever you want to put on the label, it's industry agnostic. And especially as we move through time and change happens a lot quicker, it is more about not necessarily agile, but nimble and being able to assess and adapt your ways accordingly. So I really do believe that it is industry agnostic. I'm just fortunate that I landed in food because it's much more interesting than transport, I'll tell you that. It is about, because you're just navigating a change. So you've got a clear vision, and some of the work we've done together by looking at, what is the vision of the organization? How do you want to get there? The visions are all different. Where you're starting from is different, and it's just then plotting that course to help you achieve that. And it doesn't matter if you're in utilities, it doesn't matter if you're in retail, it doesn't matter if you're in banking, it doesn't matter if you're in food. It is about taking people on that journey with you. It's probably more the type of change that makes the bigger impact, whether it's a technological change, a process change, organizational change. That's probably where you want to get the strength from. But yeah, I think I've been fortunate to have a wide breadth of experiences in different industries, because I've been able to glean different things from those and bring them to the forefront too, as opposed to just having one distinct set. So that's been what's been.
And you spoke before about a golden thread. I'm going to create something which probably doesn't make sense, but as opposed to a golden thread, is there a challenges thread or a pains thread that has connected each of the jobs that you've done? So are there challenges or pains or obstacles which you've seen to be common, not just for you personally, but within the role, that you seem to be common across industries?
People don't like change. Change is inevitable. I mean, there's that expression, there's two certainties in life, death and taxes. Well, death, taxes, and change, because everything changes. And people really don't like it. What I've found through my career is the reason people don't like it is because quite often it is done to them, not with them. A lot of organizations don't take people on the journey with you. And that's really fundamental in order to make sure that a transformation truly sticks. People need to understand why they are changing. What is it we are doing? Is it a regulatory requirement we are trying to adhere to? Is it a risk we are trying to mitigate? Is it an opportunity we're trying to exploit? Why are we doing this change? I'm a parent, and I can't tell you how many times I've said to my children when they've asked me why, I've said because. And nobody likes that answer. So we really need to make sure that we're prepared to take people on the journey with them, to understand why we need to change what we are doing. I think the other stage is to really give a compelling vision of what we're trying to achieve. Because if I have a clear understanding of where we are today, why we need to change, and where we're going tomorrow, I'm going to be much more prepared to make that change and do something different than if I'm just told, just show up to work and now you're going to do it this way. So it really is about taking people on the journey with you, and making sure they understand the rationale for why we need to do something different.
So it's really the how and the why. It's where we are today, it's where we want to go, this is how we're going to get there, and then why are we doing it? Or we're doing it because it contributes in this way, it contributes in this way, it contributes in this way. And
then specifically, going back to the point before about the golden thread, and this is how you personally then contribute to this, because you're measured on, on time in full deliveries. Well, that contributes to our overall revenue. That contributes to this. So everyone can see the part they play in it, and then they feel like they're being a productive part of helping deliver the strategy. You told the story, the NASA, I put the man on the moon. That's the classic, the classic example of
the buy-in.
The buy-in.
Yeah, absolutely. And strategy, strategic planning, strategy execution, transformation is often placed in a box of something which is quite static, quite big, quite heavy, and often quite painful. But it doesn't really square up, especially in the world we live in today, which is so, as you said before, so fast moving, so challenging, so volatile, especially in the food manufacturing and the food retail space in recent years. Is there anything that you've done over the last couple of years, maybe tactically, to try to become a little bit more agile in the way that you build and execute strategy?
I think it's having that curiosity mindset of looking outside your own organization and looking at what other people are doing and how they're doing it. It's about that nimbleness of recognizing that you might not have all the answers, you might not know everything, and just recognizing that we can go. You can look to other industries, you can look to other businesses, you can look to other partners, and constantly be evolving. That I'm a big believer in that curious mindset of there are known knowns, there are unknown unknowns, and just really taking that and moving with it. And I think to your point about a lot of strategic planning processes I've seen is it happens once a year. Someone goes away and works in a darkened room for 3 months or 9 weeks and writes a strategy, presents it to the board. Brilliant. It goes up on the shelf and never seen again. And what I've really appreciated in working with you guys this time around has been the agileness of it and recognizing that it's not just for Christmas. It's an annual process. Yes, it's an annual process, but it's a living process, and it's something that we need to make sure that we're constantly looking at and directing. And are we on track? Are we not on track? What course corrections do we need to make? And then it takes that pain of this annual process out, because then you're not doing a big 3-month process again. It's probably only maybe a couple weeks of tweaking and.
Yeah. And also should hopefully be significantly more enriching and significantly more valuable, because you're focusing on the things that matter as opposed to building this document from scratch. Now, your role within that is relatively challenging because you sit between a family, in this case, and you sit between a board and management, and as part of that management as well, and the management of each of the respective businesses. How do you navigate that, or how do you retain almost a single source of truth? Because there's a fair amount of complexity that goes into that.
Yeah, it's not easy. But I think it's recognizing that we're all coming from the same place. We all want what's best for the individual businesses, and it's recognizing that those things aren't necessarily diametrically opposed. It's recognizing that we don't all have to do things exactly the same, but we don't have to be different just to be different and stand out from the crowd. So I think it's just having adult upfront conversations about, as we've changed the strategic planning process this year to become more aligned, because we used to do it very disparately. Each business would go away and do their own. We've tried to make it a little bit more collaborative this time, and not hopefully, but it will continue to go down that road going forward. But it is just recognizing that what do we want to get out of this as a group? Again, going back to the vision and strategy, what do we want to get out of this as a group? And then what part does everybody need to play in order to achieve that? It's just really taking it back to that simple
mantra almost.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've been fortunate enough to be part of that process and to see it progress. And things are moving in a very exciting direction. So what's next within the broader food industry? I mean, we were talking before about broken biscuits as a bit of a wild product innovation. But what are the challenges, but also what are the opportunities within the food industry as a whole? Because it is quite a volatile environment. Yeah,
it is. I mean, you've got things like ultra-processed foods, UPFs that are coming in. That's always a big thing. The health, you look at the health trends and, using food almost as a medicine as opposed to, just sustenance. You've got the sustainability side of things and recognizing that, to protect our ability to grow food, we need to protect our planet. So the part that plays in it. You've got different technological advances, the part that AI plays in food and beverage manufacturing, and distribution, et cetera. So there's lots of different things going on. So it's kind of, it's not what could we do, because there's lots we could do. It's what should we do. So I guess it really is just going back to the family, going back to the shareholders and saying, this is where we could play, but we can only get so much out of this. So where do we really want to play? And it probably is starting to have some of those conversations about being a little bit more finite in where we want to operate and what we want to do, bearing in mind that the mantra is still good food, proudly made, quality products, exceptional brands, that type of thing.
And that's the really interesting point, in that it's as much about what to do as what not to do, because you said there are so many different areas you could go in. There are so many different directions. We could invest here, we could invest there, we could double down on this product line, we could introduce this other product line. But at the same time, you need to stay true to what are you ultimately trying to achieve, and what do we believe is most effectively going to get us there.
Exactly.
And that's the challenge, right? So it sounds like within the organization, there has to be this consistent progress review, or this consistent process put in place where you're able to communicate from each of the businesses, these decisions we're making, get buy-in from the board, get buy-in from management, get feedback as well, to ensure that up there is aligned with down here.
Yep. And we do that through a number of ways. So we do have regular reviews. Some of our businesses are, they're all really good at taking people with them. We have employee engagement surveys to make sure that people understand, do they feel empowered to make the decisions they need to make? Do they feel they've got the skills and knowledge they need to do the jobs they do? We've got a great training and development team at Group, supported by and also leaders within each of our individual businesses, to make sure that people have the development plans they need to deliver in line with expectations too. Like I say, not to sound like a broken record, but it is about taking people on the journey. It is about making sure they have the knowledge and the capability and the skill and the confidence to go forward and make that, to have the challenging conversations, say, I'm not sure we should do it this way. What about this way? Embracing that curiosity mindset of, how many times have we gone in to say, I know, we need to make a process change. Well, let's ask the guys on the shop floor what process changes need to be made, because they know. They're the ones who deal with the pain every single day. So how do we do that? So it is about making sure that all tenets of the business are kind of all working together.
And on that note, a topic I wanted to touch on is I believe that, is it 2 of the businesses are B Corps?
Going on 4, so almost 4 of our brands are B Corp.
Okay.
So Bella Zoo just recently got B Corp recertified. So that means Miso Tasty are now B Corp certified, because they operate under the Bella Zoo brand. Abel and Cole are B Corp certified, going through their recertification currently, and Lottie Shaw's is in the process of going through their audit. So 4 of our 6 brands will be B Corp certified.
And that's obviously something which is
accredited.
Really, B Corp accredited, and that's something that's really at the heart of William Jackson Food Group and each of the brands as well. Is it a challenge to marry those kind of initiatives or that direction of travel with the maybe slightly harsher commercial targets of an organization? Or do you think that they're one and the same, and really they're complementary?
I think it's pretty complementary. One of the things we've learned as well is some of our brands are moving into export and moving into, breaking down global boundaries. And the amazing thing is how embraced B Corp is around the globe. Bella Zoo and Miso Tasty are selling products in Australia, going into South Africa, and it's very important for those geographies that they be B Corp certified, and that's a real pull. I'm not sure about my American counterparts, but I would imagine it would probably be something similar. So I think it depends. I think the difference between B Corp and maybe more kind of general sustainability is the whole greenwashing and all the stuff that has to do with that, and making sure that, if you are working with purpose, that what you're doing is true. And I think B Corp really does help you stand up and be accountable. It's authentic.
Yeah,
exactly.
And I think I know for certain within the with the William Jackson Food Group brands, it is massively authentic.
Yeah, it's very important. I mean, we have, when I first joined is when we established our wider sustainability program, and we have 7 hero targets, and all of the businesses are aligned on those 7 hero targets. We look at people, we look at planet, we look at product, and we want to make sure that we're doing the right things for the right reasons, and we've got ambitions on each of those targets, and we measure against each of those on a regular basis. So it is important, and we do hold ourselves to account and make sure that we're doing the right thing.
Last question then. Okay. Moving forward now, as we've discussed a lot about the challenges and the threats that the organisation faces within the food industry as a whole, what are the opportunities? Where do you see the big opportunity areas that the brands are moving into within the food space and the food industry?
Our brands are all challenger brands, really. And I'm going to sound like a total geek here, but I love every single one of our brands. Don't sit next to me at a party because I will bore you about the William Jackson Food brands. And I just want everyone to know about them. And I think through some of the innovative marketing things that Bella Zoo have done with their out-of-home campaign, I look at what Abel and Cole are doing with their Difficult Tastes Better campaign. It's having those hard conversations, and it really is about bringing the quality of our products to the forefront, the deliciousness of our products to the forefront, and just the overall greatness of them. And so for me, it's just about seeing how the brands can grow, seeing how they can develop, and who knows, seeing what we can add to the group as well, and make an even more compelling portfolio of food products for the world to try.
Absolutely. Well, look, Sarah, really appreciate the time today.
Thank you, Ben.
Really appreciate the conversation, and also really appreciate our work together
yes,
as well as with
absolutely.
the brands. So thank you again, and we'll be speaking about it soon.
Great. Thanks, Ben.